Talib Kweli, you weird ass, what are you doing?
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring. And George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil, chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk and doubt it, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
You're watching the highly informative MC Too Show. I, of course, am your hardcore, fierce, and sexy host that is never gross, MC Too. Apparently, there is some sort of beef between Talib Kweli and Necro. Of course, it was started by Talib Kweli. But before we get into that, I have this to say to you. Friends, don't become the victim of yet another fatal drone strike, especially while on your way to the local delicatessen. Get yourself an A3 drone detector by Zaruba so you can detect the nearest drones and see what they see. And you could go on Zaruba's website to check out the A3 and all their other fine products at zaruba.tech. That's zaruba.tech, and you could tell them MC Too sent you. Now, Talib Kweli, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is a person that likes to label everyone that doesn't agree with his narrative a Nazi. He calls Donald Trump a Nazi. He calls this one a Nazi, that one a Nazi. He started a beef with Aaron Villain. Diabolical smacked him around a few times over the internet. And it was going to turn into real life. Had Immortal Technique and Poison Pen not went out to LA and squashed it. I mean, they were doing a gig out in California. They went by Talib's West Coast resident, sat him down, and squashed a beef that he just started up again recently. Calling Diabolic a Nazi. Calling Diabolic a Nazi, calling Panda Chop a Nazi. And Panda Chop showcases anybody that's willing to agree to an interview with him. And it's got nothing to do with Nazis, but because his definition of a Nazi is anybody that disagrees with him, then I guess half the people Panda Chop interviews are now Nazis. You see how that works in the logic of a sicko liberal. I had my run-ins with Talib Kweli about 2 years ago. Before they realigned the districts, and my district had a sicko demented penguin named Jerry Nadler as the congressman, I vowed to run against him and knock him out of office. And I would have won that election had it been a race between myself and Jerry Nadler. But they realigned the districts, and I had a different congressperson. Suddenly, my congressperson was Nicole Maliotakis, who 2 years earlier had crippled, defeated, and destroyed Max Rose. And then they realigned the districts, and Nicole Maliotakis became my congresswoman. And once I found that out, obviously I could not stay in the race because I do not ever want to run against Nicole Maliotakis. Don't fix what ain't broken. And I am proud to call Nicole Maliotakis my congresswoman. But at the time, I was in the running because I thought I was going to run against Jerry Nadler. And I thought my district was District 10. And what happened was Talib Kweli took my video that I did. I did a YouTube video proclaiming that I am not following Talib Kweli anymore. So he takes that video from YouTube, puts it on his Instagram, labels me a fascist. There are some people saying, well, this guy's like small potatoes. Why do you care? Because he's running for Congress in my city, and I can't have that. I can't have Nazis and this and that. I'm just somebody that doesn't agree with his bullshit. Because his narrative is exactly that. It is bullshit. It's not the standard of how all human beings should think. There's nuances to this, and Talib Kweli is an asshole. But anyway, getting back to this situation, he also gave the specific address of where to find me during daytime hours. Nobody came, but somebody could have. I could have found myself knuckling up with one of these sickos that follow him. I could have been in a situation where my back against the wall, having to knock the blue wig off of somebody's head because of him. But that didn't happen. And in fact, because of his beef with Aaron Villain, he ended up deplatformed from Instagram for a while. I don't know if he got reinstated with that same account or if he's on some new account, but I don't follow him because he spews MSNBC type propaganda. And if I wanted to see that, I would simply turn on MSNBC or MS Now or whatever they're calling it these days. So, I don't know what his problem was with me or Aaron Villain. And recently there was a Panda Chop video with Diabolic, and Diabolic broke it down, what happened. Pretty much spells out what I picked up on in my brush with Talib Kweli. And so he starts going off on Diabolic on, of all types of platforms, Reddit. Okay, isn't that where the furries and these baby-faced young adult males who profess to be, quote, femboys, unquote, show off their bunny ears and their butt plugs or whatever it is they do up there? Isn't it like one of those kind of websites? Talib Kweli, what are you doing? I mean, this is what I heard about the site. I don't go on there, but this is what I heard about it. And it's like, I heard enough. This is why I knew nothing about this until recently. And then things have been screenshotted and posted up on the web and stuff like that. And Necro's name comes up. And he's over there calling Necro a Nazi. Necro's Jewish. There's no such thing as Jewish Nazis. Actually, the closest thing to a Jewish Nazi will be sellouts like George Soros. George Soros is a sellout, and that's why he got so rich. But he would be the closest thing to a Jewish Nazi. Necro's not a Jewish Nazi. In fact, it sounds kind of stupid to call anybody who's Jewish a Nazi. Not even Soros is a Jewish Nazi. I said he was something close to a Jewish Nazi. But anyway, moving right along, it does sound stupid to call a Jewish person a Nazi. But he doesn't care. He doesn't care because he's one of those idiots. He's one of those fools that think that the Jews are the new Nazis. And it sounds ridiculous, okay? That's like saying the Democrats are the new redcoats. And they might be Red China sympathizers, but they're not the new redcoats. So, Necro put out a nice little piece on him on Instagram, and it crossed over to Facebook. And yeah, he cut him up on there. He cut him up on there. And I think there was something about him having something against Jewish people involved with hip-hop. I'm not Jewish myself, but even I recognize from the very earliest stages of hip-hop, going from the streets to the record studio, to the radio, to the clubs, that Jewish people had a big hand in that. And you could put up a whole list of names, Beastie Boys, for example, and people like that. But if you drop one name and one name only, Rick Rubin, that ends the conversation right there. That wins you the debate right there. I mean, you could get into other people. I mean, I don't want to say Leo Cohen, but but for what it's worth, he did have his share of contributing to hip hop. Though I'm not a fan of Leo Cohen, it is what it is, and it can't be denied. And you have some people that want to throw their hands up and say, this is ours, this is ours. Everybody else stay out. You'd be nowhere if that was the case. Nowhere. There would be a half a dozen people on a street corner getting chased away by cops to this very day. Because the cops are mistaking it for gang activity. Which I witnessed something like that in the 70s looking out my project window. This was before the release of Rapper's Delight. 3 years before the release of Rapper's Delight. But anyway. Yeah. Talib Kweli does not want to get into it with Necro. Talib rejected a challenge from former senatorial candidate Tony Montaga, Antone Tucker. Montaga, or am I pronouncing wrong? I think it might be Montega. He challenged Talib to a match. I'm not sure if it was boxing or MMA. I think it was boxing. And Talib was going around saying that Montega was threatening to assault him. No, challenging someone to a sanctioned bout is not a threat of assault. Yeah, it might turn into assault, but it would be sanctioned by a sports committee and perfectly legal. and it would take place in a ring. And as I said, it would be a sanctioned bout. But as far as it being the criminal activity of an assault, no. So he pussied out of that. And funny thing is, Montega brought up something really interesting. I'm not 100% sure how the story went, but something to the effect of somebody coming to beat the shit out of Talib Kweli, and he ran out of his own apartment, leaving his female companion in the apartment. And fortunately, whoever was coming for Talib wasn't the type to take their frustrations out on that female companion that he left for dead in that apartment. I think that's how the story went. But I wish I knew the full details on that. I hope I got that right. But it is a legendary, very true story. He dated Jaguar Wright, who went on DJ Vlad or Vlad TV just to call him a, quote, whole nerd, unquote. I mean, these are true to life things. I mean, I don't need to dig deep into archives to pull receipts. This guy is very, very sloppy. He is the classic tale of living in a glass house while throwing stones. He is that type of character. That version of a human being. And very hypocritical. Which is why I have this illustration here by Necro put up there. And shout out to Necro. Shout out to Diabolic. And shout out to Pandachop. I don't think I'm, that big of a deal to get an interview by Pandachop, but if he ever were to hypothetically reach out to me, that would be a total honor and privilege. Pandachop is only recently started this platform where he interviews people on YouTube, and he shot up way past me in followers and subscriptions. I'm still in 3 digits. No hate though, no shade. Anyway, you are missing out on a hell of a lot by not subscribing. You get to see me, and if you're just discovering me right now, you're probably kicking yourself in the ass saying, how did I miss out all these years on the opportunity to look at somebody that is just so hardcore, fierce, and sexy? And so on that note, unto thee I say, respect God, watch out for the Illuminati, like, follow, share, comment, and subscribe. Stay strong, keep kicking that slag. It's your boy in the building. Hip-hop legend, recording engineer, underground rock and roll hero, MC Too Tall. You be safe out there.